Good morning, everyone. As you know, I'm Suzanne Landis. This is my husband, Mike Landis, and I want to introduce Julietta. Julietta has her mask on, but you should recognize her by her growing hair.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Welcome.
And Julietta is another teacher. So maybe next week or the week after, whatever, we have to work out the schedule. She'll be your teacher. So today, we are going to be talking about Benjamin Franklin and the U.S. Constitution. Remember, we've talked about George Washington and the Revolutionary War, and then we talked about Thomas Jefferson and the Declaration of Independence. And now we're moving 11 years later, after the Declaration of Independence. The country knew that we had to have a set of laws that would keep our country strong. And so they got together and they wrote the Constitution. We'll talk about that in a minute. Am I forgetting anything? I don't think so. Okay. When you got your invitation, you got a handout or a link, so you could look at the handout. I hope you have that.
Can you check and invite the students in?
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You have to put me in.
Is this invite?
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you in now?
Oh, she is.
I'm in now.
Okay, now we
Do you have
can.
any other participants?
I don't see the other.
Yeah. Okay, now I see you instead of me. Anyway,
Yeah, how do you get it back?
I don't know.
Should be.
They were little. I probably have to click up here. Gallery view.
That would be better than what we have. Yeah,
Okay, and I can make it bigger.
okay.
That's good.
No, it's not.
Okay, I'm seeing you guys.
Okay. Okay, we're seeing you and us. But in any case, so this is what the paper should look like. And it really helps you to follow along if you have the paper. So if you can, print it out. Okay. Now, at the top of the paper, there is a picture of Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin was the oldest participant in the Constitutional Convention, which we'll get to later. Before that, he had gone to France during the Revolutionary War to ask them to help us to fight the British. Now, the French and the British were enemies. So it was feasible that they would help us, and they did. And then in 1783, with the help of the French, we won the Revolutionary War. So here it is. It's 1787, and it's time for them to write a new constitution for the United States. Okay, this is below is another picture of Benjamin Franklin. And that is at the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C., that picture. Okay, now I'm going to say the sentences, and then I would like you to repeat the sentences with me. Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin is famous in American history. Benjamin Franklin is famous in American history. He had many ideas for the country. He had many ideas for the country. He started the first free public library. He started the first free public library. He was the first Postmaster General. He was the first Postmaster General. He was a diplomat to France. He was a diplomat to France. He was the oldest member of the Constitutional Convention. He was the oldest member of the Constitutional Convention. He signed the U.S. Constitution. He signed the U.S. Constitution. He didn't get to sign the Declaration of Independence because he was over in France, but he did sign the Constitution. So on the next page, we have a picture of the signing of the Constitution. And you'll see there's like a little platform, and standing up there, I believe that's James Madison, who's called the father of the Constitution. And then on the other side, you see people signing. They're taking turns signing the Constitution. Okay, let's look at the new words in the box right next door. Okay, the first word is document. Would you click on it? Okay, a document is an important paper. Can you write that, Mike? Document, important paper. I do have this somewhere. Thanks. Okay, next words, founding fathers. Leaders in colonial times. Founding fathers, leaders in colonial times. So they're the ones that started our country. They're the ones who declared our independence from Great Britain, and then they're the ones that wrote the Constitution. Not every person who signed the Declaration of Independence also signed the Constitution, or vice versa. But they're all considered founding fathers. Okay, convention. A convention is a big meeting. Convention, big meeting. And then to pass, to vote yes. So if a bill comes up in Congress and they passed it, it means that enough people voted yes so that it becomes a law. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to read about the U.S. Constitution. Once again, I'll say it first and then we'll say it together. The Constitution is an important document. The Constitution is an important document. After the War of Independence, the country needed new rules. After the War of Independence, the country needed new rules. The founding fathers met at the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia. The founding fathers met at the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia. They wrote the Constitution at the convention. They wrote the Constitution at the convention. The Constitution was written in 1787. The Constitution was written in 1787. 9 states had to pass the Constitution. 9 states had to pass the Constitution. Some Americans did not agree with the Constitution. Some Americans did not agree with the Constitution. The Federalist Papers pushed the states to pass the Constitution. The Federalist Papers pushed the states to pass the Constitution. In 1790, all 13 states passed the Constitution. In 1790, all 13 states passed the Constitution. We follow the same Constitution today. We follow the same Constitution today. Okay, under the box on the left-hand side, right-hand side, is a page from the Federalist Papers. The Federalist Papers were written by John Jay, James Madison, and Alexander Hamilton. And they were telling people why it was important for us to have a strong federal government, that the states would have to give up a lot of their power. What do you, is that?
Just raise it up.
Yeah.
Make it a little more focused.
Okay,
This
thank you.
this is the box.
Yeah, right. Okay, so that's the Federalist Papers. And down below is another box, and it tells you who the three writers are. Three men who wrote the Federalist Papers. Three men who wrote the Federalist Papers. James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, and John Jay. And maybe some of you have seen that play, Hamilton. We saw it on TV in person, but I was surprised that Alexander Hamilton wrote most of the Federalist Papers. Okay, now we're on the page that says, "We the people," we the people. And that is the beginning of the Constitution. We're going to read about that. The first three words of the Constitution are, "We the people." The first three words of the Constitution are, "We the people." We the people means Americans have self-government. We the people means Americans have self-government. U.S. citizens elect their representatives to the government. U.S. citizens elect their representatives to the government. The U.S. government makes the country's laws. The U.S. government makes the country's laws. Every person's rights and freedoms are protected by law. Every person's rights and freedoms are protected by law. For example, freedom of speech is one important right for everyone in America. For example, freedom of speech is one important right for everyone in America. Okay, and this box tells you about the rule of law. The rule of law means that the law is what governs us. You know, it's not what some man decides. It has to be according to the law. So everyone must follow the law. Everyone must follow the law. So that includes the policemen, that includes everybody in the government. It includes everybody driving down the road. Everybody should be following the law. No person is above the law. No person is above the law. So we're all equal in the eyes of the law. This is called the rule of law. This is called the rule of law. Okay, now we have some writing to do. So hopefully you have papers. If not, try and remember. It says, the U.S. Constitution, correct the sentence. Read the sentence, correct the sentence. So the first sentence is, Benjamin Franklin was the youngest member of the Constitutional Convention. Is that right? No. So we're going to read it correctly now. Benjamin Franklin was the oldest member of the Constitutional Convention. The Constitution was written in 1776. Is that right?
No.
No. That's when the Declaration of Independence was written. The Constitution was written in 1787. The Constitution was written in 1787. The first three words of the Constitution are, "Give me liberty." That's not right. The first three words of the Constitution are, "We the people." The first three words of the Constitution are, "We the people." Okay, we're going to read about the Constitution today. And you'll see there are three pictures. This is a picture of the White House. That symbolizes the president and all the people under him in what's called the executive branch. In the middle, we have the Capitol, and that is where the Congress meets, in the Capitol, and they make the laws. And then we have the Supreme Court building, where they decide if a law is constitutional or if a law is according to the traditions of the United States. So let's look at the box here on the right-hand side, upper right. What does the Constitution do? What does the Constitution do? Protects basic rights of Americans. Protects basic rights of Americans. Defines the government. Defines the government. The Constitution today. The Constitution protects our basic rights. The Constitution protects our basic rights. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. All other laws must follow the Constitution. All other laws must follow the Constitution. And that's what the Supreme Court decides. If a law that's, say, written by Congress or by any of the states is following the Constitution. The Constitution also defines our government. The Constitution also defines our government. There are three branches of government. There are three branches of government. So once again, the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. So on the next line, you see executive equals person that lives in the White House. Is the person that lives in the White House, the president. Okay, so the executive branch is headed by the president. The legislative branch equals the Congress. Okay, so that's all our senators and all our representatives who are in the House of Representatives. That makes up the Congress. And then the judicial branch equals the courts. So there's federal courts, and the highest federal court is the Supreme Court.
Can you decide and then you can show the answers?
Sure.
Point to the answers up there.
Okay. Okay, so going once again, the executive branch is headed by the president. The legislative branch is the Congress, and the judicial branch is the courts. And then the Constitution protects basic rights and defines the government. Okay, now we're down below those words we wrote in. Did you? Oh, you did. I think. Yeah, okay. The branches have separate powers. The branches have separate powers. The branches have equal powers. The branches have equal powers. This is called separation of powers. This is called separation of powers. The powers balance each other. The powers balance each other. No branch has more power than the others. No branch has more power than the others.
When you do the word bank, flip the computer out so that they can see what he's writing is
Oh,
the ink is coming up faint.
oh,
So once you
okay,
have the final answer.
okay. Like this way?
No, literally.
Lift it up, oh, okay.
They're coming in faint when
Oh,
they're
okay.
looking at that. So when he's done, just show the final answer so the students can see.
Okay. Okay, so we have a word bank here. And we don't usually write all the words on the board, do we?
Oh, yeah.
Well, why don't, because it's different than having everyone, let's read the words. And while we're reading the words, Mike can fill it in for the people so that they can see the answers.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay,
Unless you want to show the answers, we can flip the answer page. Now the answer page doesn't come up that nice.
okay,
Well, I can put the four categories.
okay, do that. Okay, so we have 4 categories on the page. We have Benjamin Franklin, the U.S. Constitution, branches of government, and the Federalist Papers. Each of them has 3 blanks underneath them. And so there are 12 words up here that we're going to have to put in the right spots. Okay, the first one is protects rights. Are you ready, honey?
No, not right.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, so we have U.S. Constitution, Federalist Papers. I don't know, maybe better to see it's right like this. Oh, yeah, you have it right. You're just going. Okay, while we're waiting on the other page, if you have the paper, you can start filling in Constitution and what is the supreme law of the land, the Constitution.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Okay, now we're ready. So the first word is protects rights. Protect rights would go under the U.S. Constitution.
I can do it when it's
All done?
done, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, and the next one is, we're going down, John Jay. John Jay was one of the writers of the Federalist Papers. John Jay. Then we have U.S. diplomat. And that would be Benjamin Franklin. He was a diplomat who was sent to France during the Revolutionary War. Excuse me. Next column, James Madison, another writer of the Federalist Papers, James Madison. Written in 1787. That would be the Constitution, written in 1787. That's an important date to remember. So I want you dates you have to remember. Constitution, 1787, and the Declaration of Independence in 1776. Executive is one of the branches of government. That's the one that's headed up by the president, the executive branch. Next column, judicial. And that is the courts. And that in the highest court is the Supreme Court. And that's right behind the Capitol, in the capital of the United States. Capitol building in the capital city. Okay, Alexander Hamilton. He was the third writer, actually the one that wrote the most of the Federalist Papers. Alexander Hamilton. And then we have the first free library. That was started by Benjamin Franklin. The first free library. And that was in Philadelphia, where he lived. Defines the government. And that would be what the Constitution does. It defines the government. So the Constitution is telling us all the ways the government is set up and what the government does. And the first Postmaster General was Benjamin Franklin. So he was the first person who was in charge of all the mail in the United States when we started as a country. So first Postmaster General, Benjamin Franklin. Legislative. That is one of the branches of the government that makes the laws, the legislative branch. Okay, now.
Let me just see. So if I lift this up, see if it focuses so the students can see the answers.
Yeah, but not, you have to go back. That's good right there.
Now, why don't you read the answers under each one more time for the students?
Okay, so we have Benjamin Franklin was the U.S. diplomat. He started the first free library, and he was the first Postmaster General. The branches of government are the executive branch, the judicial branch, and the legislative branch. The U.S. Constitution protects the rights of Americans. It was written in 1787. It defines the government. The Federalist Papers were written by John Jay, James Madison, and Alexander Hamilton. Thank you. That's yours. Okay. So we've covered the whole lesson now, and there was a lot in there, but don't worry, we'll be giving you the questions that pertain to the Constitution. We'll be doing them today, but we'll be doing them every week. I told them to do that already.
Okay. Sorry.
That's all right. Okay, so the first question is, what is the supreme law of the land? The Constitution. What is the supreme law of the land? The Constitution. What does the Constitution do? They give you three choices here. You can say any of these at your interview. It sets up the government, defines the government, and protects the basic rights of Americans. The idea of self-government is in the first 3 words of the Constitution. What are these words? And they are, we the people. See that? We the people?
Yeah.
Big letters at the very top of the Constitution. Because they were the most important concept. That it wasn't a king, it wasn't even the president or the legislative or the courts that was in charge of our government. It's the people. We the people. Okay, name one branch or part of the government. So there's 3 branches. You can say any of the 3 and you can name it. There's 2 ways you can say each one. So you can say Congress or legislative, the president or executive, the courts or judicial. Okay, we're going to turn the,
turn
yeah,
the
right.
light out.
Okay,
Okay, now hold it up.
okay,
Okay, that's
okay,
better.
good, okay. So the 3 branches are Congress, which is also called the legislative branch, president, which is also the executive branch. I'm trying to read these backwards.
The courts.
The courts, which is the judicial branch. You have to name one.
And I read them.
Oh, what's that?
You show them and then I'll read them.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say, you only have to name one of them, okay? Good if you know 3, but if you remember 1, you'll be doing good. What stops one branch of government from becoming too powerful?
Checks and balances, separation of powers.
Okay.
Either answer will work. Constitution. Either way is a good way of saying the answer.
Right. When was the Constitution written?
1787.
The Federalist Papers supported the passage of the U.S. Constitution. Name one of the writers.
James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, John Jay, or Pluvis, which was the papers themselves. You only need to name one.
Right. Actually, it was the common name for the authors.
Okay, thank you.
What is one thing Benjamin Franklin is famous for? He was famous for many things.
Here. Let's get this. So, okay, there. U.S. diplomat, oldest member of the Constitutional Convention, first Postmaster General of the United States, writer of Poor Richard's Almanac, started the first free libraries. Most of the students remember U.S. diplomat.
It's the easiest one, I think. What is the rule of law? You only have to remember one of these concepts.
Everyone must follow the law. Leaders must obey the law. Government must obey the law. No one is above the law. Most students remember everyone must follow the law.
Okay, now these are the questions from the other weeks. What territory did the United States buy from France in 1803?
The Louisiana Territory, or Louisiana.
What did the Declaration of Independence do?
Announced our independence from Great Britain, declared our independence from Great Britain, said that the United States is free from Great Britain, Any one of those three ways is a good answer.
What are two rights in the Declaration of Independence?
Life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Most of the students remember life and liberty. You only need to name two.
Why did the colonists fight the British?
Because of high taxes or taxation without representation, because the British Army stayed at their houses, quartering, because they didn't have self-government. Most students remember because of high taxes, the easiest one.
High taxes.
Nobody likes high taxes. Who wrote the Declaration of Independence?
Thomas Jefferson.
When was the Declaration of Independence adopted?
July 4th, 1776. We have to remember the whole date. So that's July 4th, 1776.
There were 13 original states. Name three. Juliana's going to read all of them.
New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. So remember, you only need to name three. And remember, you live in Pennsylvania, and that's one of them.
Now, this
Good
is the
advice.
easiest question of all. What is the name of the President of the United States now?
Oh, that's the old one.
That's the, oh, I'm sorry. This is a former president. Okay,
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Yeah, and it may or may not change.
At least till January 20th, for
Yeah,
sure.
right. Okay, who is the father of our country?
George Washington.
Who was the first president?
George Washington.
Name two national U.S. holidays.
New Year's Day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, President's Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Okay,
Remember, you only need two.
two, right. Name one state that borders Mexico.
California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas.
What is the capital of the United States?
Washington, D.C.
What territory, oh, we started with that one. Okay,
We're done.
we're done. Unless you want to go over these again, today's.
We'll go over today's one more time,
Yeah,
sure.
right.
Good idea.
What is the supreme law of the land?
The Constitution.
What does the Constitution do?
Set up the government, defines the government, protects the rights of Americans.
The idea of self-government is in the first three words of the Constitution. What are these words?
We the people.
Name one branch or part of the government.
Congress, legislative, president, executive, the courts, judicial. Any one of those words can be used.
What stops one branch of government from becoming too powerful?
Checks and balances, separation of powers.
What happened at the Constitutional Convention?
The Constitution was written. The founding fathers wrote the Constitution.
When was the Constitution written?
1787.
The Federalist Papers supported the passage of the U.S. Constitution. Name one of the writers.
James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, John Jay, Publius.
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 Okay, so you only have to say one of those. What is one thing Benjamin Franklin is famous for?
U.S. diplomat, oldest member of the Constitutional Convention, first Postmaster General of the United States, writer of Poor Richard's Almanac, started the first free library. Usually U.S. diplomat's the easiest one to remember.
What is the rule of law?
Everyone must follow the law. Leaders must obey the law. Government must obey the law. No one is above the law.
Okay. So now we have quite a few of the questions that we've already are working on, okay? And every week we're going to add some more. So we will see you next week. And
See how it
thanks
goes.
for sticking in with us.